Welcome to Let's Be Well Together podcast. We're your wellness check-in team. Join us each week or when you can. We enjoy exploring wellness concepts and reminding you to make time for wellness. This is episode 153.
And welcome to another episode of Let's Be Well Together podcast. It's Sheila Webster here, and I am here with Elise Seifert.
Hello.
Hey, Elise. So this one is an environmental topic and something that's very close to my heart because I love a clean house.
You do.
And I saw this online and I thought, oh, this is really interesting because it's basically a list: daily cleaning, weekly cleaning, monthly cleaning, and seasonal. And some of them I agree with and some of them I don't.
For sure.
So I thought it would be interesting to talk about them because like some of the things you don't even think about, and then just generally cleaning, it's an unappreciated chore.
It is. It
clean.
Seems like a lot of work. It's not something you really want to do.
And it's
from my perspective.
And it happens, and then it gets dirty, like within minutes of you sweep the floor and it's dirty the next time.
Oh yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
What's the point? But, I think it's really great to have a clean house and to live in a clean house. And I feel like it actually cleans your mind and frees your soul.
Definitely. It affects how you take in everything. I think it affects your health.
Mm-hmm. And your organization, you know where everything is, you know what you have and what you don't have. And so here, let's go through the list. And what we'll do is we'll talk daily.
Perfect.
So this is the first one, and I will introduce these ones. So daily chores: wipe down kitchen countertops. You do that after every meal.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, so that's not too hard. Clean kitchen sink. This is something that I didn't realize until later on in life, that you have to clean the sink, that the sink actually gets dirty, right? Because you're like, oh, it's clean water and soap in there. Like it can't be that dirty, but they get so grungy.
It does. Yeah. And there's always leftover food there. Yeah. It's really gross. It's something I'm doing a lot right now because I'm cleaning a lot of baby bottles. Mm-hmm. So before I clean the baby bottles, I clean the sink because I want it
to be clean.
I don't want any food particles or anything that could cause bacteria to grow in the bottle. So I feel like I'm cleaning the sink a lot.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Because I also, whenever I'm peeling my carrots or potatoes, whatever, I just peel it in the sink.
Right.
Right. So you've got all that compost stuff that then you put in the compost, and you're like, yeah, you got to clean that sink.
You do. Yeah. And I remember seeing an Instagram reel, I think, where it was like the last thing you always do after the dishes is put dish soap in the sink and scrub it down. Mm-hmm, and I was like, yeah, then everything's clean.
Then you're done. Sweep the floors.
Definitely something I do daily, especially in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because you just have so much food left over on the floor, as much as you try not to. When you're cutting or peeling or moving, things get on the floor.
Yep. And if you don't clean it, then you just take it from one room to the next.
It's so true. Yeah. You're like, how did this end up in the living room?
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, well, make the bed. Is this something you do every day?
No, we're not big on making our bed.
A lot of people are either don't make it or do make it every day. Like I have to make my bed every day.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I do when I wake up. And even if I have a nap, I usually won't nap in bed because it's already made.
You just nap on top?
No, I'll sleep on the couch.
Oh, okay.
If I have a nap, I'll sleep on the couch but if I do decide that I really want a really good sleep, a nap, then I will sleep in the bed and make it again.
Okay.
So I really like getting into a fresh made bed.
I used to always make my bed, but then once Steven and I moved in together, we use separate blankets. And so if you make the bed with both blankets, then we end up just having to tear it all apart anyway when it's bedtime. So it's almost like I need to make half the bed and half the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Make half the bed.
Yeah. Because, I used to just stack them on top of each other, but then we just tear them apart. So, yeah, not something we really do.
No. So take out the trash. This is a daily chore?
Not for us, no. We don't take it out every day. I mean, we have a pretty big kitchen trash container, so probably weekly is how often we take out our trash.
This one says daily, but I agree with you. We have garbage take out once every 2 weeks,
right?
And that's when I do the garbage.
Yeah.
I take it out, the whole house, I get all the garbage that one time.
So your containers can hold for 2 weeks?
I have zero problem with holding. I could probably hold for a month. Like that's how much trash we have. Not a heck of a lot.
Yeah, that's
because there's
amazing.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, right. We usually have to take it outside weekly, even though our trash comes every other week.
Right.
So we just have to store it outside until trash time.
Yeah, which is like, what do you do in the summer? like the animals, don't they get into it when it's outside?
We've been really lucky not to have animals get into it. We suspect it's because our neighbors always have dogs. So we think that keeps away the raccoons and the other kind of animals that would like to get into the trash. We also have kind of an animal safe container.
Right.
So I think that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So there you go. Those are the daily
tasks.
Yeah. Do you want to read the weekly?
I'd love to. So weekly, clean your appliances.
Weekly.
I know I definitely do the stovetop and the refrigerator maybe almost twice a week, just because they get pretty dirty.
Yeah, like the stovetop, I would clean it every time I use it. Right. But the inside of the oven?
No. And I also do not clean my microwave very often.
Yeah. Microwave is I used to not clean my microwave very often, but now I clean it all the time. Like,
Okay.
if it's dirty, I clean it right away. If I use it and it gets dirty, I clean it right away because I find it's easier.
I was just going to say it probably makes it easier. Yeah. Because that's why I don't want to clean it. It's gunk.
It's gunky and stuck. Yeah.
Terrible. Scrub the toilets and the bathrooms.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely do that weekly.
Clean the mirrors.
I only clean the mirrors if I have to clean the mirrors.
Right.
If the mirrors are dirty, then I'll clean the mirrors.
That's totally fair.
Right? So if they're dirty every day, I'll clean them every day, but I will not clean them if they're not dirty.
Right. Wipe down furniture and shelving. No, I definitely don't do this weekly.
No. I was just thinking, wait, shelves, no, this would be more of a monthly thing maybe for me.
Yeah.
Wiping down shelves, wiping down furniture.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Change the bed linens.
Yeah, I definitely don't do this weekly.
Yeah, we do it every other week. That just kind of works for us. Do the laundry.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, definitely weekly, if not more.
Yeah.
Depending on your household.
Yeah, again, I feel like do a load when you have a load.
Yeah.
Like that just works better for me. Some people are like, have to do laundry on Sunday, whatever day it is, right? But no, I'm like, oh, I've got time. Put a load in.
Yeah.
Because
usually we are kind of a Saturday laundry day kind of household, but right now we're not because we have a little more laundry than we used to have. So we just kind of do it when we need it.
Yep.
And that's what works right now. Mm-hmm. And then mopping the floors is the last weekly task.
Mopping the floors weekly. See, because for me, I would sweep the floor every day.
Right.
And then probably do a mop right away.
So you mop more than weekly?
Yes, I would probably mop every day. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty quick mop. And then maybe once a month, I would do like a deep scrub of all my floors. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And I typically do kind of a Swiffer wet wipe more regularly, maybe every other day.
Yeah.
So then that means I don't have to mop as frequently, which is kind of nice.
Yes, exactly.
And now let's look at the monthly tasks.
Okay. So the monthly tasks, clean inside appliances. Okay. So that would be considered like the oven or the microwave, the fridge. Yeah.
I definitely don't clean my fridge monthly, and I probably should because if I did, it would be an easier task.
Yeah.
Just like the microwave, that's a task I put off because I'm like, it's so much work and
so
gunky.
Scrub tile grout. Isn't that an interesting one?
I feel like that's something I do when I clean the bathroom and I'm really ambitious.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling it, I'm really feeling like I want to give a good clean to the bathroom, then I'll scrub it.
I use Mr. Bubbles cleaner and it is awesome. What I'll do is every week I will spray down the tiles, the grout, like the grout in the tiles with the Mr. Bubbles, and then clean the whole bathroom. And by the time I'm done cleaning the bathroom, then I take the shower head and and they're clean.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's really not that hard. I would definitely do that more than once a month, I think. Wipe down doorknobs, switch plates, and lamps.
This is something I did actually a lot during COVID times.
Yeah. I was thinking that because
disinfect those areas a lot.
Yeah, because everyone touches the doorknobs. Everyone touches the switches.
But not so much since then.
The lamps, yeah.
No.
I did do that. Now, we did like a repainting of our house when we were touching up everything. And I realized, hey, if I just like wipe this down, with a little bleach, I don't have to paint it. And I was like, it just makes everything look so much cleaner. Because you've got all those fingerprints and especially goopy if someone's cooking or something. And I'm like, it's nice and clean. The door handle around, not just a doorknob, but around it, So I started to do that more so that we wouldn't have to repaint everything.
Nice.
Yeah. And it looks so refreshing. So it's a nice thought for sure. Vacuum the baseboards and vents. Have you ever done that?
No. I think I cleaned the baseboards and the vents when I moved into my house. And, we had just a day of an empty house where we could just clean everything. But since then, no.
I would definitely clean the baseboards when I'm cleaning the floors.
Okay.
So I'm cleaning the floors. I'm on my hands and knees when I'm cleaning the floors.
Right.
And then I would clean the baseboards while I'm there. Right. Yeah. So I would do that. But I've never vacuumed the baseboards and the vents. That's
but maybe
very
once you're
interesting.
Vacuuming, just, pop it over there and then it's done.
And the last one, disinfect the garbage cans.
Yeah, not something I think about a lot.
No.
But I bet it would make a big difference.
Yeah. Maybe.
In the summer, we do have to clean our garbage can pretty frequently because of fruit flies, the worst. So we definitely do it more in the summer season. I'll bleach it.
And for me, it's the compost, that container. Because it's compost stuff, I've got to clean really that icky. Out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And quickly, let's do the seasonal ones, Elise.
Sounds good. So seasonally, we want to clean the pantry for expired items.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Air out rooms and drapes. Not something I typically do, no. So that's a good one to think about. Wash throw pillows and blankets. Sort through closets to clean /donate /repair items. That's always a good one. I know my drawers get so full sometimes, so it's always good to go through them.
Yep.
Deep clean and check the fridge for expired items.
I think that's a really important one.
So important.
Right?
Sometimes you end up with a smelly fridge and you have to play the detective game. Wash comforters and duvets. Clean the windows and clean the fireplace.
Well, there you go. I hope that gives you some inspiration to get out there and clean.
Guests are giving their time, expanding our minds. Today's interview is in the category of mental wellness. We welcome back Dr. Fredric Schiffer, author of the book Goodbye Anxiety, Depression, Addiction, and PTSD, The Life-Changing Science of Dual Brain Psychology. Welcome back, Dr. Schiffer.
Thank you.
Dr. Schiffer has a wealth of experience in psychiatry and is a best-selling author, psychiatrist, and part-time assistant professor at Harvard. He's on a mission to help people understand their anxiety, addiction, and trauma, and to offer them a proven method to improve their well-being. Problems arise from early traumas, and very often the trauma is not recognized. Dr. Schiffer wrote his book, and he takes an in-depth look at the science behind dual brain psychology while offering practical tips and tools to try and find it for yourself. He discovered that the brain is made up of two minds, which are competing for dominance. And when the immature and troubled half of the brain is treated, dual brain psychology techniques can curb anxiety, depression, PTSD, and addiction, and improve psychological well-being. And Dr. Schiffer, during your first interview, you laid the foundation for dual brain psychology and hidden past trauma. And today we're going to talk about ways to improve our mental health. So let me start by asking, based on your studies, how do you determine whether a person has a problem with one side of the brain or the other?
Okay, I think maybe the best way of answering that is to have you try it.
Okay.
So do you have an envelope? Do you get any junk mail, or do you ever get an electric bill?
I have something beside me that'll work like that.
Okay. So I want you to cover one eye and the middle of the other eye.
In the middle? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I want you to think of something reasonably upsetting. It doesn't have to, be a torture or something, but and I want you to note from 0 to 10 what your level of distress is. Okay. Okay. And then I want you to look out the other side. So I want you to cover your right eye and the middle of your left eye. And so you're looking out the left half of your left eye. I want you to think of that same upsetting situation, and I want you to measure your level of distress from 0 to 10.
Okay, well, I've done that, and I would say that when I covered my left eye, it was about a 7-ish, but when I covered my right eye, it was like maybe a 3.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, and that's what we call the lateral visual field test. When you look out half of one eye, the light strikes the part of the retina that crosses over to the other brain hemisphere. When you're looking out the right half of your right eye, you're actually stimulating your left brain. And when you look out the right half of your right eye, you're stimulating your right brain that crosses over. And so if you did that, we could have a conversation looking out each visual field. And we have an fMRI study. Now, fMRI is an MRI that measures blood flow. And blood flow is an index of brain activity. And we put people in the scanner, and we had goggles on them such that they could look to the left or the right, and it would block the opposite eye. And so it would do exactly what you just did. And the instructions were look out that side, look out the left side for 30 seconds, look out the right side for 30 seconds, and then repeat it. And then we crunched the data of 7 individuals. These were people from our laboratory at McLean Hospital in Harvard. And we published this, and the picture is that we got is really neat in that most fMRIs that are done look like measles, and you really can't interpret them very well. You can say, oh, the amygdala on the left side is more active, but you really don't know what that means. But here, the whole left brain lights up when you look to the right. When you look to the left, the opposite brain lights up. And so this little technique actually activates the brain hemisphere. And as you just showed us, that you felt differently depending on which side you're looking at. And so when you stimulated your right brain by looking at your left lateral visual field, you felt a distress of 7. And you looked out the other, I forget whether it was 3 or 4, but it was a 50-60% drop in your distress level. And that's a big difference. So that if somebody's depressed and they're having trouble going to work, and they look out their positive side and they can get up and go to work, that makes a big difference in life. And we are making special sunglasses that you can actually wear, and they look nice, and they're actually handsome, sort of sporty glasses, and they stimulate one side or the other, and they make people feel really relaxed, people who respond to that. I've never had a neurologist feel any different on one side than the other. Okay. So, but most people feel some difference. In my practice, about 15% of patients don't respond, and about 55% have really amazing responses, such that one person came in and he was seeing me because he was using opioids, and he had stopped using opioids and he was still in therapy. But he came in this time and he wanted to gamble. And so I said, well, you came to the right place. I happen to have a casino in the back, but there's a cover charge. So we had a little auction. And so he was willing to pay $2,000 by increments to go into my casino. And then he stopped and then had him look out his good side, and he wouldn't pay me anything. I said, you won't pay me anything? And I see this often. Somebody comes in and they want a beer in my refrigerator, and they'll pay me $500 for the beer. But after looking out the other side, they won't pay me anything. And I said, well, I'll give it to you. And they won't take it. So these are about 55% of my practice that have these really amazing responses. It's really surprising that you can get this kind of response. And I have a great deal of difficulty getting other clinicians to really try this and use it, because it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
And it's harmless.
Do there tend to be similar problems? If I have one troubled side, for example, would I have one set of problems, but if the other side was troubled, I'd have a different set of problems, or the problems, are they the same?
I've been doing this for decades, and I don't see that.
Okay. So it's the fact that you have the disconnect, or one troubled and one not troubled. It's that kind of competition that's creating some issues.
Yes. again, the troubled side is always troubled because of traumas.
Okay.
And the healthy side just has a different view on the trauma. He's more mature, he or she, and has a perspective on the trauma that doesn't belittle him or her, and just has a more mature attitude. He's healthier. And that's what you just experienced. So that the side where you felt a 3 or a 4 is a healthier side. And we could have a conversation for an hour or as long as we wanted, and you would have a mature perspective on that side, and your judgments would be different. You might vote differently on that side. And on the other side, you would feel more anxious and be more critical of yourself.
And what are some of the techniques that you've discovered? So you find somebody and you identify that one side's immature or troubled. What are some of the techniques that you've discovered help to treat people with things like anxiety and depression, addiction, PTSD?
Okay, well, there are different ways to approach this. And so my preferred way is what I call dual brain psychology. And that's where if someone who was uninitiated were watching us, they think we were crazy.
Okay.
I'm talking to 2 people in one person. I'll say, let me talk to the little boy. Little boy, so you're really upset about the bullying, and that was really terrible. And I'm talking to him like this, and the person will say to me, yeah, I feel more relaxed now, and so that I'm actually talking to somebody and I'm getting a response. And then I'll talk to the mature side, and I'll say, so isn't that interesting, that he's really upset? Like a typical patient, I'm just thinking of, he came to me for anxiety attacks and didn't know why. And it turned out he had been severely bullied in high school. A group of people would wait for him after a class, and there was only one exit, and they'd push him against the wall. But it was like an everyday affair. And if he goes for a walk, his troubled side doesn't want to go. He's afraid somebody's behind the bush. And he's a guy who, is now around 50 years old. And so I'll talk to his healthy side. And his healthy side said, that's amazing. He really just is stuck there. And then I'll talk to the little boy, and he'll talk about his anxiety, and we'll talk about the fact that the bullies aren't there anymore. And he's much better now. But we really had like 2 different conversations, and he would know how to talk to his troubled side and try to encourage it. No, we can walk further, and we're safe, and I'll be with you. And it really is 2 people. It's just very interesting. So my first choice would be to do dual brain psychotherapy. But secondly, if anybody gets junk mail, you finally have a good use for it.
Okay.
You can hold it up and do what we did. And so if you're feeling very anxious, you find out which is your good side and hold your envelope up and look out one half of one eye while you cover the other eye. And what a lot of people do that defeats it is if you look out the whole eye, it doesn't work because you're stimulating both hemispheres. So it's got to be just the right half of the right eye or the left half of the left eye. And if you do that, your anxiety will fall, and that can get you going. And you can do it 30 times a day if you like. Most people find they forget to do it. So that's one technique. A second technique is I wanted a way to stimulate the brain that was safe, but was more powerful. And so I went to the Wellman Center for Photomedicine at MGH, and we developed a special LED. It's not anything that you can buy on the internet. It has special parameters. I put this over the positive hemisphere, and it stimulates the positive mind. And right now, I have a $2.5 million grant that we're running for fentanyl addiction. And I don't know what the results are, but half the people are getting a sham treatment or a placebo treatment, and half are getting active. So I don't know who's getting which, but I know that about half of the people have an average of 80% decrease in fentanyl over the time in their study. And so the study's a 6-month study. Some of those people were in the study for 4 weeks and some people for 25 weeks. And I won't have the results till next August. So they're just getting this light treatment over the positive hemisphere. It's a 4-minute treatment. And so far we have discovered no adverse effects from it. And we have an FDA breakthrough designation for it. And so if the results are positive, we hope to get FDA clearance and bring it to market. And but that's in the future. But we've had 2 earlier studies where we've used it and gotten very positive results that we've published.
I've definitely got my fingers crossed that this treatment, this breakthrough will work. I like the fact that you're doing it in this testing in this scientific way. The other thing that's so amazing about it is it sounds like it's approachable to so many people. It doesn't sound like a super expensive drug treatment that takes years and whatnot. So I have my fingers crossed, and I'll be interested in seeing the results next year, hopefully when they come out.
Thank you. But that's true. And you can take drugs with it, or you can be in therapy with it. And I use the light actually on myself every day.
Okay.
I use it for cognitive enhancement, and I think it helps for that. But I use it in my practice for depression or anxiety. So it's not just for addiction. Got the grant for addiction, and that's why we're testing it there. The Army is using it. They're applying now for a large grant for depression and combat PTSD.
Wow.
And that's at the Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio.
Okay. Well, it's amazing how ideas can turn into results. So we hope that keeps going. And I'm just about to ask the question I ask every guest, as you're familiar from the last time. But before I do that, is there anything else you wanted to say about treatments and how this is working?
I feel that in my practice, people get better a lot quicker than they used to. And I have patients who are in therapy for years. Often it's because for financial reasons, they come once a month, or they're resistant and they come less often than that. I think a majority of patients, like with a severe depression, can be treated in 6 to 9 months and be really well. And I don't hear from them after that because they're doing well.
Okay.
And also without medicine. I feel that most of the medicines are not very effective in psychiatry.
Okay. I mean, there's different perspectives on that, certainly.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, from the last time, we ask every guest the same question in a context where we all have areas of wellness that are important to us, but not enough time to focus on all of them at any given time. We do our mini wellness check-in. So today, Dr. Schiffer, are you neglecting an area of wellness in your life? And if so, can you think of one thing you could do to foster wellness in that area?
Yes. Actually, on July 1st, I lifted a very heavy chair, and I herniated a disc in my back.
Oh.
And I've recovered from it, but I have some residual numbness, and I should go for physical therapy, and I'm neglecting that. And I'm just so busy with this study. It's very time-consuming and energy-consuming. So I need to make an appointment and begin some proper physical therapy. I've been doing that on my own, but I need to attend to that better.
Okay, well, we love to sing the song to everybody that physical wellness is really important. It's foundational. So I hope you get a chance to do that, because I'm hoping once you feel better physically, it'll have a lot of other great benefits as well. And thank you so much for 2 really interesting interviews and for doing all the hard work you're doing to explore this way forward. And we hope that your patients continue to do well.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're glad you're here, and we hope you're making wellness a priority. Hope you're getting something out of the podcast. And especially for people who are new, you might not know that the podcast was inspired by my book, Accidentally Well by John Webster. It's available on Amazon, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, pretty much anywhere where you can buy books online. And this is my pitch for you to buy a copy and have a read. I think it'll enhance the experience of the podcast, And it will also help us defray some costs because it's really expensive putting out a podcast. So grab a copy if you can. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the show. There's a thought. Popped up while running. As the year comes to an end, I can talk about dozens and dozens of running pop-ups. How? By talking about books. In 2023, Sheila and Elise told me about this app, Libby, that you can get, and through your local library, you can listen to audiobooks for free. And in 2023, I started listening to books. By this year, 2024, I was listening to them a lot. I often walk to work, I go on long runs. I often listen to audiobooks. And now that the year's over, I also use Goodreads to kind of keep track of the books I'm on. So I'm on Goodreads. I see that I've read 55 books, which is crazy because I remember in the first couple episodes, we interviewed Beth Beatty, and that was back in 2022. And when we asked the question we ask every guest, she talked about how she hasn't read literature in a while. And it reminded me, I hadn't read literature in a while. And all these books I'm talking about are literature, like fiction. Going from not having read anything in years to reading 55 books this year, 55 books in 1 year. It's pretty crazy. And so many great things. I read a whole bunch of what they call classics. I decided I wanted to go back and read some of the classics I haven't read. And I read things like Moby Dick, Ulysses by James Joyce, Tess of the Dubervilles, The Great Gatsby, Red Badge of Courage, Frankenstein, Dracula, Anna Karenina. But I often mixed in a lot of, for some reason, I really like post-apocalyptic teenage romance books. I really enjoy Veronica Roth's books, and I read her series Divergent and The Fates Divide. And I read series, things like are called Under the Never Sky, Delirium, The Fifth Wave, Matched, Enclave, Maze Runner, and others. I read science fiction books. I really enjoyed the Dune series. I read the first 4 of those. I read some newer books that looked interesting and I really enjoyed. Light Between Oceans, White Oleander, 13 Moons, Cold Mountain. Anyway, my imagination crossed time, seeing what life was like in other times in history. Lots of times thoughts cross my mind, and I think we're facing problems in our time that nobody in history faced. And we're facing the way people are acting in ways that never happened before. And that might be true in terms of the problems in the technological sense, like actual facing AI. But in terms of the broader issues, nothing's new. We've faced the same kinds of people and the same kind of problems forever, and people write about it. And it's really interesting to see how the same kind of problems and issues applied back when, just in different contexts. And it's also comforting. It's comforting to know that other people went through these things I'm feeling and found ways to endure or even thrive. It's humbling too, because sometimes I have these thoughts like, whoa, what a great thought. Can't believe nobody thought of it before. Well, they did. Because I keep coming across them in books that I read where people explain things in a way that make a lot of sense and kind of the way I'm trying to make the same sense. And lots of insightful authors over time express thoughts through characters, often hundreds of years ago. But mostly it's been a great way to exercise my mind and add so many more experiences to my short time on this planet. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about trying to add experiences to my day. And I really enjoy it when I find ways to do that. Like, for example, taking the bus to work adds some experiences to my day. And reading definitely does that because I'm reading about all these amazing stories and things that people are going through. Things I never would have thought about if I wasn't reading these books. And I think too, it's like exercising my mind because I enjoy TV, I enjoy movies, but through books, I feel like it exercises my mind in kind of a better way. Somehow it builds on my experiences in a deeper way. So I'm so glad Elise and Sheila told me about Libby and how I can listen to audiobooks for free through our local library. Thank you both, because I've had dozens, if not hundreds, of running pop-ups as I listen to books.
I'm Cameron, and welcome to another installment of The Adventures of the Starving Artist. I've been writing like crazy this past couple of weeks, but the problem is, I don't have any time during the day because I'm teaching, or driving to lessons, or eating dinner. And so the only time I've consistently found has been throughout the night. And while as a person, I am not opposed to that. As a body, I am. The late night, early morning combo really does catch up to me after a while, but it is self-inflicted. I own that. And also, it's been quite productive. Over the past couple of weeks, I've cranked out what were just sort of fledgling ideas and fleshed them out into some more concrete structure of music. And I'm starting to make progress. One of my goals this year for myself was to focus and prioritize my own writing. And to be honest with you, that priority took such a backseat until, I'd say, mid-October. So it's nice to finally be putting some of my own stuff first and affording myself the opportunity to do that. Always feels good to follow through on your own plans. What I wanted to share with you today is one of the ideas that I've been cooking up, just a section of it. A couple of weeks ago, I was chewing on this riff. I came up with it on my 8-string guitar. It's in the metal realm, but not like shred-tacular or anything. But I've been obsessed with the idea, the concept of mixing metal and orchestral elements. Now, this is nothing new. There are many bands that have done this before me. As with all things music, it's all been done before. Some famous examples of bands that do this really well, Sonata Arctica, Nightwish, I guess you could argue Apocalyptica, although that's just 4 cellos, but still counts if you ask me. Even one of the bands I featured with called Seven Spires has used some orchestral elements and combined it with metal. It's been done before, but for me, it's my first time really trying it with any seriousness. And so the little nugget of music I want to share with you is the transition from an orchestral part into a transitionary liminal section, introducing the metal instruments or reintroducing them actually, and then the riff itself. And I just want to share with you how it is coming together so far. So here it is. Here, it descends into metal madness for another couple of minutes, and then it re-emerges into the orchestral stuff. So I'm excited about this, if you can't tell. I'm genuinely really excited. Like I said, it's always such a joy to do music that, in this case, there's no deadline. This isn't for anybody else except me, and it's a goal that I had set months ago, and I'm finally getting to it, and all of that just feels great. So I hope you have a chance this week to hit some of your goals. If you're into this kind of stuff and you want to hear more, stay tuned. Follow me on Spotify, because when this eventually comes out, that's where it's going to be. For now, though, that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for listening. I know today's segment was a bit of a long one, but I appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you soon.
Please remember that we're not providing advice. We hope to inspire you to work towards balance, and we urge you to consult with qualified people if you need advice. The people on the show are speaking in their personal capacities. Their views expressed are their own, and don't represent the views or opinions of their outside contacts, their employers, or anyone else. We try to get things right, but we can't guarantee everything we say is correct, or that the things we talk about will work for you. Let's be well together, and let's be sure to do that in a safe way.
And it's sign-off time. It's Sheila here with John. Hi, John.
Hey, Sheila.
So it's just after the holidays, and we had a lovely time here in Ontario. in our little neck of the woods, we actually had snow for Christmas. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, it looked like a postcard out there. The snow, it looked like icing on the trees. It was awesome.
It was really beautiful and not too cold, and it was just so great. And then a few days later, started to rain and rain.
I mean, talk about lucky timing. You had all the beautiful views, the postcards for Christmas, and then it goes back to where it was.
Mm-hmm. So the only other thing I wanted to mention was how nice it was to have Michael with us this Christmas. That's our first grandson, and he's 2 months old, and he was such a good baby the whole time, meeting all these people and it being so loud at times, and he was excellent. So that was really good.
Yeah, we're in a really good place right now, and the kids are coming over with spouses and partners. Mm-hmm. And it's just in a good place right now where it's a really chill time, very relaxing, really good feeling. People are playing games. Mm-hmm. And then other people come over to visit too, and especially to see Michael. And wow, what a fantastic holiday it was.
It really was just perfect. We had some downtime and some uptime, and everything was great.
And then Sheila's family does this. Sheila's from a big family, and a whole bunch of them get together on Christmas, like the night of Christmas, not Christmas Eve, and do a sing-along. Mm-hmm. And it's really crazy, actually, to have 30, 40 people all singing Christmas carols together and having a blast. That was also a lot of fun.
Really a lot of fun. And this time, everybody was singing, which was so lovely. Mm-hmm. So we had 4-part harmonies in some of the songs. So that is so lovely to hear.
I did get a break from work, although I do like working on the non-holiday days around this time because it's quiet. Mm-hmm. You're not getting emails in, so I can catch up on a lot of stuff. So that's been good. Today's Monday, by the way, and I worked today and got a lot of stuff done. So that was fantastic. And I did it relaxed after having a number of days off.
Mm-hmm, that's great.
So yeah, it's really, 2024 was a great year. The holidays aren't over because we're coming up to New Year's Eve. In fact, this drops
on New Year's
just before New Year's Eve.
Yes.
So we hope everyone has an amazing night and everyone has a fantastic 2025 after a good 2024.
Thanks for listening. That is it for today's show. Please try and make wellness a priority.
You deserve it.
If you feel the need to talk to someone or ask for help, please do that.
Accept yourself for the person you are.
So long.
Adieu.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Goodbye.